I played a lot of games in 2019. None of them were really new, but that was just because of my internet speed. These are some of the games I spent the most time with. Yeah, I do play my fair share of FPS, but look right here. This is what I want to talk about. Katawa Shoujo. Let's start with what it really is, and more importantly, where it came from. On the 4th of January in 2007, an image was posted to 4chan that sketched and detailed some different characters. The artist had envisioned these characters for a game that he had called Katawa Shoujo. This one image quickly inspired many people from the A board, and real development began shortly after this. 4Leaf Studios was created, and their work started with condensing 4chan's infinite bickering into a final project. If you've ever been on 4chan, you understand why this might have been challenging, and I already know what you're thinking. The combination of this game's themes and its origins in the most chaotic basket-weaving forum on the internet is definitely a recipe for disaster. You'd think that this game would be depraved or crass or heavy-handed in its execution. However, Katawa Shoujo is actually very well written. It's the only piece of media that I've ever seen that approaches such a difficult subject with grace and realistic characters that can really touch your heart. Wait, did I just spoil that I really like this game? Well, I do like this game. I actually like it a lot. But let me go back and justify why I like this game. I play a lot of games for their gameplay first and their story second. The thing is, though, dating sims don't really have any gameplay. It's mostly reading with some basic decision making along the way. That means that for Katawa Shoujo to stand out so much to me, it had to be something really special. If this game interests you in any way, it's absolutely free, and I recommend that you play it for yourself first. The best way to play this game is definitely without spoilers. But maybe you can't read, and maybe you just want to hear me talk through some of these characters and why they're so interesting to me. The game starts off by introducing you to you. Well, I mean introducing you to me. Wait, no. They introduce you to the main character, Hisao Nakai. A seemingly boring dude with a heart problem that shows itself suddenly, changing his life drastically. It's this exact heart condition that ends up getting Hisao into Yamaku Academy. When I first played, I thought this heart condition seemed kind of like an easy way to write the main character into this school, but once again, at first glance, I was totally wrong. After Hisao starts his first few days at Yamaku Academy, he begins to meet some characters, and the player's given their first few real choices. The game is broken into 4 very long acts, and starts with a short prologue. The first act is really where you choose which route you're going to take in the game, and Act 2 is really where it locks you into one of 5 different main routes. For those that don't know, each route essentially changes which girl you spend the most time with throughout the game. The 5 main girl characters in this game are Rin, Emi, Shizune, Lily, and Hanako. Each route also contains 2 to 3 different endings for a total of 13 different ways to play through the game. This game truly shines through its characters. Every one of the main girls has ambitions, goals, fears, and true personality. To start off, there's Rin Tezuka, an inquisitive and philosophical art student. Her route's the longest. Rin is difficult to understand at first glance. She often talks in circles and asks odd questions to Hisao. Rin struggles with emotions and expresses herself through her art. Through the story, she has many issues that arise due to her difficulties making art. Rin is only really close with one other character, her friend Emi. Emi Ibarazaki is the exact antithesis of her best friend. She's incredibly cheerful as well as energetic. She's always running no matter the destination, and she's a track team champion because of this. Nothing holds her back, and she's always determined. Emi often does anything she can to keep Hisao active to help his heart condition. This route is where Hisao's condition is really expanded the most, and it becomes very important to the storyline. The student council president, Shizune Hakamichi, is a strong leader. Almost as soon as you meet her, she's trying to get you to join the student council with the help of her friend Misha. Since Hisao doesn't know sign language, Misha helps with interpretations for Shizune. Shizune and Misha are very playful with Hisao, while also being fairly pushy. Shizune is incredibly well put together, however her emotions tend to visibly show on her face. She also can be extremely competitive and playful. Hisao decides to take ASL classes to better understand Shizune. Oddly enough, the concept art for Katawa Shoujo mentions that Shizune has a large bust? I'm sure that won't be relevant at all in this game. The caring Lily Satao is an incredibly sincere and formal girl. Hisao meets Lily and has a calming cup of tea with her. She's very social and is friends with almost everyone at Yamaku. Hisao's surprised by Lily's sincerity and does anything that he can to help her through this route. At one point in the story, Hisao actually helps Lily go to the store and is her eyes to help her shop. It becomes apparent that Lily's a sort of motherly figure to those at the school. In fact, she's one of the few characters that's trusted by Hanako. Hanako Ikazawa is incredibly introverted and really shy. Hisao first talks to her in the library as she's reading a book. She's incredibly apprehensive and ends up bolting out of the library mid-conversation. She's very close to Lily, and because of this, Lily ends up actually pushing Hanako and Hisao together during this route. Hanako frequently leaves class and is incredibly anxious throughout her entire route. Originally in the beta of this game, Hanako had 3 bad endings, but in the final version that we have, there actually is a good ending. I'd also like to discuss Hisao. He's not a static character. Each ending and route has him learning and changing as he's a dynamic character. As the game is played and more is learned about any of the girls, it's clear that Hisao is actually learning more about himself as well. And those are just the main characters. This game also actually has several interesting side characters. Each route incorporates many different side characters that may or may not even be unique to that route. From Hisao's laid-back homeroom teacher Matao to the incredibly bubbly Misha, there's a litany of side characters that are interesting and unique. Another thing that really stands out about this game is its music. Katawa Shoujo features a full soundtrack called the Enigmatic Box of Sound. Every character has their own track, and the full soundtrack is available for free, just like the game. It really is a miracle that this game is as well thought out and genuine as it turned out to be. From its chaotic conception to the true release of the game 5 years later, it's a true miracle. Rarely do video games cover such difficult circumstances such as physical disabilities. This game will forever stick with me for being the only game that can realistically show characters that aren't afraid to be held back no matter their circumstances. Wait, I almost forgot, this game has hentai.